Hello, everyone. This is Javier from the Kardec Spiritist Group, Rio Grande Valley, from deep South Texas, USA. I miss all of you very much, and I hope you've been doing everything possible to stay safe during these trying times. Patience is the key. And while we wait patiently for the next opportunity to meet together, let's use this time for reconciliation within ourselves and others. God created us. He created all of us and everything around us. According to the will of God, we started out as simple and ignorant spirits, then set out on a path of moral and intellectual progress. After multiple incarnations, we have arrived here on this earth yet again to learn and to improve ourselves. This opportunity of reflection allows us to ask ourselves, where am I in terms of spiritual progress? How far have I come? And how much further do I need to go? All schools from elementary to universities have a curriculum. We know what grade we're in, how we got there, and when we graduate. But in order to make an accurate self-assessment, we must first heed the words of Socrates, who said, "Know thyself." This is where we examine our personalities by studying our mental and emotional processes and bringing to light our strengths and weaknesses, otherwise known as introspection. As humans, our interpretation of ourselves most often differs from how others actually see us. To get to the truth, we need the ability to study ourselves objectively. In other words, we need to be able to step out of our own shoes and get an outside perspective of ourselves. Spiritism offers such a perspective. It reveals the curriculum God created for us. Without a doubt, we'll all graduate, spiritually speaking. That's the will of God. But the path and time we take is entirely up to us. In school, we're classified as first graders, second graders, juniors and seniors, for example. In the spirit world, we're classified by our qualities, by the qualities that we've acquired and the imperfections that we've shed. Unlike our schools with distinctly marked levels, first, second grades, and so on, spiritual levels or classifications are measured as a whole, since each category merges with the other through gradations like the colors of a rainbow. Keep in mind that we're all spirits. We live in a human body in the material world as incarnate spirits. We live in the spiritual world as discarnate spirits. The Spirits book, written by Allan Kardec, provides a table to help us examine human progress from inferior spirits to superior spirits. So, in the Spirits book, they describe 3 different orders. We have the imperfect spirits in the 3rd order, the good spirits in the 2nd order, and pure spirits in the 1st order. The imperfect spirits prefer material things over moral values and would rather practice evil than good. They're known by their ignorance, pride, selfishness, and all the evil passions that result from these. They know God exists, but they don't really understand Him. Some of them do neither good nor evil. They're just in between. They lack reasoning. They love mischief. They take pleasure in evil. Their knowledge of the spirit world is very narrow, and they use vulgar language. They're mostly tormented by the happiness of good spirits, which is interesting. They just don't like to see others succeed, or be happy for that matter. They suggest evil thoughts to the minds of others. They suffer from the problems that they've endured, and they suffer from the problems that they've caused others to endure. The toughest one of all is this one. They believe that they'll suffer forever. So in a sense, they're stuck in a hell. Moving on to the good spirits of the 2nd order, these spirits prefer moral values over material things and would rather practice good than evil. They're mostly known by their desire of excellence, and according to their level, they've gained scientific knowledge, wisdom, and charity. The more advanced have a combination of knowledge and moral excellence. They haven't completely dematerialized, which means that they still like the things that the material earth offers. They haven't completely shed all of those impurities yet. They have an idea of God and infinity, and doing good and preventing evil makes them happy. They still need to undergo trials to complete the work of their purification. They can suggest good and noble thoughts to the minds of others. and they do good for doing good's own sake. Now, the first order, pure spirits, they've attained the highest degree of perfection imaginable, and it's very tough to imagine a perfect person, because the only perfect person we've seen is Jesus Christ. So each one of these orders can be divided into different classes, according to the Spirits book. We have here the imperfect spirits in the third order. They're divided into 5 different classes. They range from 10 to 6. 10 is impure. We have the 9 frivolous spirits, pretentious spirits, neutral spirits, and boisterous spirits. In the second order, the order of good spirits, we have 4 different classes, from 5 to 2. 5 is benevolent, 4 learned spirits, 3 the wise spirits, and 2 high spirits. In the first order, the pure spirits, there's only one class, and that is pure. There's no other way to classify this group. They've attained the highest degree of perfection imaginable. Let's examine all 10 classes of spirits, beginning with the third order, and this would be class number 10, impure spirits. Impure spirits, these are the ones that prefer material things over moral values and would rather practice evil than good. They're inclined towards evil. You can't really trust what they say. They assume every sort of mask in order to deceive people. Now, spirits can create their own appearance to get what they want. Just like putting on a mask, they can look friendly or they can look mean. It's no different than a person in the material world looking to deceive you by dressing up a certain way or as any type of form to manipulate you. So they surround themselves with those addicted to vile passions such as sensuality, cruelty, roguery, hypocrisy, cupidity, and avarice. And they do evil for its own sake. Let's move on to class 9, frivolous spirits. These are ignorant, they're mischievous, unreasonable. They're addicted to mockery. In other words, they like making fun of other people. They meddle in everything that you do, and they have an answer for everything when you ask. They mislead people by mystification and trickery. Some cultures name them hobgoblins, will-o'-wisps, and gnomes. They like oddities and absurdities of people. They borrow distinguished names for their own personal gain and amusement. By borrowing names, spirits can trick you into believing that you're in communication with someone you admire and trust. Once again, it's no different in the material world. You can pretend to be anyone on social media or even in person. Next class is class 8, pretentious spirits. These are knowledgeable in science, but they pretend to know more than they actually do. They're eloquent speakers, but they have no substance. They like to confuse you by stretching the truth. And their absurd speech and actions reveal their presumption, pride, jealousy, and stubbornness. These are the people that can sell you snake oil and make you believe that all your problems will go away. Next we have class 7, neutral spirits. These are not advanced enough to do good. They're not bad enough to do evil either. They don't rise above the ordinary level of humanity. They're strongly attached to material things of this world. They love their possessions, their cars, their riches, their houses. They work hard to fulfill their own personal satisfactions, and then they regret what they've done later. So I like to use the Scrooge as an example. Now, of course, we know that there are many different levels of Scrooges, just like there are many different levels of any other class of spirits. They all kind of blend into each other. And finally, in the imperfect spirits third order, we have class 6, boisterous spirits. These spirits can belong to any class in the third order. They produce phenomena that can be perceived by the human senses. These spirits make noises, movements of objects. They can act upon air, water, fire, and so on. These spirits are rowdy, and they love to create chaos. Do you know anyone living here today that acts that way? People are people, no matter where you are. Incarnate or discarnate, we all interact together to achieve God's purpose. And these Dennis the Menace type spirits, they just think they're having fun and like to poke at others. Next we have the good spirits. These are in the second order. Class number 5, these are benevolent spirits. Benevolent spirits are known for their kindness, They serve and protect others. They have a strong moral character. Their intelligence is progressing to reach the highest level, but their intelligence is still a work in progress. Think of those who work for the sake of helping others. They go to work each day to provide a service rather than hold a job. There are many here on earth. We know who they are. They continue to do good for others in the spirit world as well. When we pray, we can ask for the good spirits to guide us and help us. Now we have class 4, learned spirits. Learned spirits have great knowledge. They prefer science investigation over questions of morality. Their desire to improve humanity through science frees them from the passions of those in lower degrees. So many people believe that we've been given technological knowledge by some unknown origin in order to move the human race forward. Spiritism reveals to us that learned spirits are sent to incarnate on our planet to help lead us into the future. Their influence comes from the spirit world as well, in the form of intuition. Next we have class 3 spirits, the wise spirits. These spirits possess the most elevated moral qualities. They have not yet arrived at unlimited knowledge, but they can judge people and things correctly. I just put examples on there, but there are many, of course. And these are just the closest I can come to what they're describing here as wise spirits. I'm sure wise spirits can be of many different levels as well, but mostly on the higher levels of the good spirits. Just like learned spirits, as they come to teach us technology, the wise spirits come to lead us in our moral progress. Finally, we have, in the second order of the good spirits, class number 2, the high spirits. These spirits have a very high degree of scientific knowledge, wisdom, and goodness. Their language is noble and elevated. Their superiority allows them to share just and true ideas within the people's limits of understanding. They incarnate in this world for the sole purpose of accomplishing a mission of progress. St. John the Baptist had a mission. St. Joan of Arc had a mission. Mother Teresa had a mission. These elevated people have created change in our way of thinking. They've brought us a greater level of understanding in order to bring out the good in our society. Last but not least, we have the first order, pure spirits. These are class number 1. These spirits have passed through every degree of the scale of progress. They are free from all material impurities. They no longer have to undergo trials and expiations as we do. They no longer have to incarnate in a perishable body. They are in the immediate presence of God. Some cultures call them angels, archangels, and seraphim. Yes, they were once class 10 spirits at one time. They had to have gone through all the levels of progress, just like we're going through at this moment. Angels are highly elevated people who have worked, suffered, and continue to love. They rejoice in seeing us progress, knowing that someday we'll join them in the presence of God. So these are all the levels of people that exist on earth. These are spirits, but they're us, you and me. So on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the most pure and 10 being the least pure, what class do you pertain to? Are you class 8, maybe, a pretentious person? Are you class 6, maybe, boisterous, rowdy? Maybe you're class 5, benevolent. We don't know. Perhaps you're learned or wise. Chances are you're more than one number. That's because you're human, and humans are complicated. One day, you're kind to people, and the next day, you have an angry fit and hurt someone. One day you do it intentionally, and another day you don't. Which brings us to the next question. What impurities have you shed and left behind? Chances are you haven't completely shed some impurities, and others are long gone already. We likely carry impurities around because we like them or because we don't know that they're actually a problem. What qualities do you have today? If you're not sure, look at how people around you react when they see you. Talk to people you trust, those who can give you an honest answer. But most importantly, be honest with yourself. And finally, where do you need to improve to reach the next level? Overall, we're young and immature spirits traveling through trials and tribulations. Let us rid ourselves of primitive emotions so that we can experience the more advanced feelings of love, charity, fraternity, and honesty. What if everyone in the world today looked upon this scale and asked themselves these questions? That process has already begun, as more and more people look inward to discover their true selves. May God bless you all, and until next time, this is Javier wishing you great joy and happiness today and always.